Okay, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 24th chapter, text. I believe we have to start from text 42. Namasta Ashishamisha 42 Manave Karanatmane Namo Dharmaya Brihate Krishnaya Kuntamedhase Purushaya Puranaya Sankhya Yogeshwaraya Cha. My dear Lord, you are the topmost of all, the bestowers of all benediction. The oldest and the supreme enjoyer amongst all enjoyers. You are the master of all the world's metaphysical philosophy, and you are the supreme cause of all the causes, Lord Krishna. You are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you. So, devotees are saying the purport is done. Therefore, we'll go to the next verse. My dear Lord, you are the supreme controller of the workers, sense activities, and results of the sense activities, karma. Therefore, you are the controller of the body, mind, and senses. You are also the supreme controller of egotism, known as Rudra. You are the source of knowledge and the activities of the Vedic injunctions. Text 44. Darshanam no didrakshunam dehi bhagavatarchitam rupam priyatamam swanam sarvendriya gunanjanam. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful unto me and show me that form, for only that form, worshipped by the devotees, can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. In the Shruti or the Veda mantra, it is said that the supreme absolute truth is Sarva Kama, Sarva Gandha, Sarva Rasaha. Or in other words, he is known as Raso Vahisaha, the source of all the relishable relationships, rasas. We have various senses, the powers of seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, etc. And all the propensities of our senses can be satisfied when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha, Narada Pancharatra. These material senses, however, cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, one has to be free from all designations. Sarvopati vinirmukti tatparattvena nirmalam. One has to become free from all the designation or false egotism and thus become purified. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, the desires or the inclinations of the senses can be perfectly fulfilled. Lord Shiva therefore wants to see the Lord in a form which is inconceivable to the Bauddha philosophers or the Buddhists. The impersonalists or voidists also have to see the form of the Absolute. In the Buddhist temples, there are forms of Lord Buddha in meditation, but these are not worshipped like the forms of the Lord in Vaishnava temples. Forms like Radha Krishna, Sitaram, or Lakshmi Narayan. Amongst the different sampradayas, Vaishnava sects, either Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan is worshipped. Lord Shiva wants to see that form perfectly, just as the devotees want to see it. The words Rupam, Priyatamam, Swanam are specifically mentioned here, indicating that Lord Shiva wants to see that form which is very dear to the devotees. The word Swanam is especially significant because only the devotees are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Jnanis, Yogis, and Karmis are not particularly dear. For the Karmis, simply want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their order supplier. The Jnanis want to see Him to become one with Him, and the Yogis want to see Him partially represented within their heart as Paramatma. But the Bhaktas of the devotees want to see Him in His complete perfection. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5:30, Venum Kwanantam Aravindadalayataksha Barhavatamsa Asitam Buddha Sundarang Kandarpakotikamaniha Vishesha Shobha Govindamadi Purusha Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept at playing on his flute, whose eyes are blooming like lotus petals, whose head is bedecked with peacock flowers, whose beauty is tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and whose unique loveliness charms millions of cupids. Thus, Lord Shiva's desire is to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is described in this way. That is, he wants to see him as he appears to the Bhagavatas, the devotees. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wants to see him in complete perfection and not in the impersonalist or the voidist way. Although the Lord is one in his various forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, still his form as a young enjoyer of the gopis and the companion of the cowherd boys, the Kaishora Murti is the most perfect form. Thus Vaishnavas accept the form of the Lord in his Vrindavan pastimes as the chief form. Srila Prabhupada explains how the form of the Supreme Lord in Vrindavan is the Lord of the Gopis is the most perfect form. Although the various incarnations of the Lord are not different from the Lord as explained by Brahmaji by giving the analogy of the various candles, all the incarnations of Lord Krishna are equal in potency to the Supreme Lord. However, the various incarnations of the Lord are manifesting or exhibiting a specific vibhuti or opulence according to a specific or a specific set of vibhutis according to the mission of the incarnation. So it is only the Krishna, the original fountainhead of all incarnations. Uh, so it is only Krishna, the fountainhead of all incarnations, who is manifesting all the vibhutis simultaneously. That is why Lord Krishna is called as Purna Purushottam. And this is the reason why the darshan of Lord Krishna is explained as the most perfect. Obviously, Prabhupada is comparing the mentality of the Voidists and the imposters, the Buddhists, in terms of worshipping, in terms of again respecting and worshipping the form of Lord Buddha in meditation, but not like the worship done by the Vaishnavas, Prabhupada explains. The worship of the Vaishnavas is in great love. So the deity form of the Lord is not a placeholder for a Vaishnava. It's not a placeholder or a cue for enhancing meditation, but actually the deity form of the Lord uh, is the actual manifestation of Krishna, not different from Krishna. Which means that for a devotee, uh, the deities are the king, the proprietor of the entire premises of the temple. And one lives like a servant in servitude to the deities. So therefore Krishna is the most perfect form or appearance of the Lord. Why? Because we understand Krishna is Rasaraj. Therefore, all kinds of loving propensities can be fully reposed in the Supreme Lord. Mind it, all these loving propensities result in marked increase or enhancement of servitude. Like when one is serving the Lord, either is taking darshan or he is offering arti to the Lord or one is offering bhoga to the Lord. When one is serving the Supreme Lord or one is offering prayers to the Lord, then by meditation on any one of the pastimes where the Lord is reciprocating different flavors of rasas with his devotees, all of these remembrances and meditations result in uh, increase of servitude. It's not that uh, it all of them result in increase of servitude. Like say for a pujari, if he is remembering the pastimes of the Lord with the gopas, it's not that one will start feeling himself like a gopa, or it's not that one is remembering uh, Krishna's sweet dealings with the gopis, like Danakeli pastime. It's not that one starts feeling himself like a gopi. We don't resort to those kind of imaginations and hallucinations. Any such pastimes like this, what is its effect? The effect is increase of servitude. Increase of servitude. So, therefore, all the rasas translate to only one language for a sadhaka, that is servitude. Because all the rasas are based on servitude. The one point essential component in all the rasas is servitude. So, therefore, the increase of servitude, there is no Gopa Bhav or Gopi Bhav or some other Bhav. There is only one Bhav, Seva Bhav. So, in fact, all other Bhavs are made up of this Bhav only. All other Bhavs are made up of this Bhav. That is a foundational Bhav. So, we approach Krishna in that way. Okay, so there is a question here that okay, so the question is that the desire to see the form can satisfy all the senses, form of the Lord. So are the senses satisfied just by darshan or by service? Yeah. So if sense service can satisfy the senses, then how to understand the desire for darshan? The point is that uh, The darshan is not possible without service. The Premanjana Chorita Bhakti Vilochanena means that we can only see the Lord with the eyes which are anointed or filled with the salve of love. And salve of love only comes through service. So, if there is service, that leads to the production of love, and if there is love, that manifests as service. So, one will not be able to take darshan. So, when a devotee is saying that, "Oh Lord, I want to see you," so what is he going to do when he sees the Lord? He's not going to take a selfie with the Lord uh, uh, and post on Instagram. He would like to serve the Lord. And therefore, you see, Prabhupada very interestingly translates devotional service as uh, being engaged in serving Krishna, maintaining a longing to meet or see Krishna. It becomes a little more easier to serve. That's the point. And that is why you see Lord Shiva wants to take darshan of the most perfect manifestation of the Lord. It's just like Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami was worshipping the Shaligram Shilas, perfectly absorbed and perfectly in a state of trance in serving the Shaligram Shilas. But still, he got a desire that if he had the Lord uh, having all the features, the bodily transcendental features of Lord Sri Krishna, then then what? Then what did he want to do? You know? Yeah, so he wanted to serve. The point is that the service becomes more profound. Is it not? So in one way we can say, okay, so he wanted to take darshan of the Lord in his with all his transcendental bodily features. So Shaligram is not different from Krishna, no doubt, but the form is not fully manifest. So so one can serve, but the same service becomes even more profound when the form is fully manifest. And therefore, in reciprocation, the Lord manifested the one of the Shaligrams manifested as Sri Radharaman with all the features exactly as Krishna has. That's the point. Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarva saundarya sangraham charavayata chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam padmakosha पानसाक्ष्यं सुन्दराभ्रूसुनासिकं सुद्विजां शुकपोलास्यां समाकारणविभूषणम्. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens His bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has four arms and an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a highly beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. After the scorching heat of the summer season, it is very pleasing to see the dark clouds in the sky, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Barahavatamsam Asitam Buddha Sundarangam. The Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair, and his bodily complexion is just like a blackish cloud. The word Sundara or Snigdha means very pleasing. Kandharpakotikamani. Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated in all opulence, and therefore Lord Shiva is trying to see the most opulent form of Narayana or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with the worship of Narayan, Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Radha and Krishna is more confidential. Lord Narayana is worshipable by the Pancharatrika Vidhi or the regulative principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavat Vidhi. No one can worship the Lord in the Bhagavat Vidhi without going through the regulations of Pancharatrika Vidhi. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi or the regulative principles which are enjoined in the Narad Pancharatra. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. Worship according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi is called Vidhi Marga, and worship according to the Bhagavad Vidhi principles is called as Raga Marga. The principles of Raga Marga are especially meant for devotees who are elevated to the Vrindavan platform. जय श्री निताय चंद गौरचंद भगवान की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुदर्शन महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। The principles of Ragamarg are especially meant for the devotees who are elevated to the Vrindavan platform. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, the cows and everyone else are actually on the Ragamarg or the Bhagavad Marga platform. They participate in five basic rasas: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Shanta. Although these five rasas are found in the Bhagavad Marga is especially meant for Vatsalya and Madhurya, or parental and conjugal relationships. Yet there is the Vipralamba Sakhya, the higher fraternal worship of the Lord, especially enjoyed by the cowherd boys. Although there is friendship between Krishna and the cowherd boys, this friendship is different from the Aishwarya friendship between Krishna and Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the Vishwaroop, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, he was afraid for having treated Krishna as an ordinary friend. Therefore, he begged Krishna's pardon. However, the cowherd boys were friends of Krishna in Vrindavan, sometimes rides on the shoulders of Krishna. They treat Krishna equally, just like they treat one another, and they are never afraid of him, nor do they ever beg his pardon. Thus, in the Raga Marg or Bhagavat Marg, friendship exists on a higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vishrambha friendship, parental friendship, parental service, and conjugal service are visible in Vrindavan Raga Marga relationships. Without serving Krishna according to the Vidhi Marg, regulative principles of the Pancharatrika Vidhi, unscrupulous persons want to jump immediately to the Raga Marga principles. Such persons are called Sahajiya. They are also demons who enjoy depicting Krishna and his pastimes with the gopis, taking advantage of Krishna by their licentious character. These demons who print books and write lyrics on the Raga Marga principles are surely on the way to hell. Unfortunately, they lead others down with them. Devotees in the Krishna consciousness should be very careful to avoid such demons. One should strictly follow the Vidhi Marg regulative principles in the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, although the Lord is present in the temple as Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna includes Lakshmi Narayan. Therefore, when one worships the Lord according to regulative principles, the Lord accepts his service in the role of Lakshmi Narayan. In the Nectar of Devotion, full instructions are given about the Vidhi Marga worship of Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan. Although there are 64 kinds of offences one can commit in the Vidhi Marg, the Ragamarg worship there is no consideration of such offences because the devotees on that platform are very much elevated and there is no question of offense. But if we do not follow the regulative principles on the Vidhi Marg platform and keep our eyes trained to spot offences, we will not make progress. In his description of Krishna's beauty, Lord Shiva uses the words Charvayata Chaturbahu Sujata Ruchirananam, indicating that the beautiful four-armed form of Narayan or Vishnu. Those who worship Lord Krishna describe him as Sujata Ruchirananam. In the Vishnu Tattva, there are hundreds and thousands and millions of forms of the Supreme Lord. But of all these forms, the form of Krishna is the most beautiful. Thus, for those who worship Krishna, the word Sujata